write about. Trying to figure out what it's all about. Existentialist. Am I worth anything or just a scout? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
That was Great Sounds of Watts with Outside on WNHH LP 103.5 FM New Haven. Myself, Preston, and Mr. Easy BlueZ. Easy, you are always better with introductions more than me. Who do we have thus on the broadcast today?
Ladies and gentlemen, they say this industry is absolutely disgusting. They say there is nothing but pimps, prostitutes, johns, drug addicts, smugglers, and horrible human beings. And there's a downside. But for that and that alone, I want you to understand that there are people that are in this business for all the right reasons. People that can take something as simple as going on stage and delivering the perfect performance, to making sure you are rocking the proper gear, to making sure that you are putting on the best festival humanly possible. That and that alone, I want you to put your hands together. Not if you're driving. If you're driving, please keep your hands at 10 and 2 because we don't need any accidents. But mentally, put your hands together for the fantastic, the amazing, the incredible, the stupendous, the supercalifragilisticexpialidocious TJ Redding in the building today. Welcome.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
It's always fun. It's always fun talking with you, and it's always a good time. There's so much that you do for this in this industry, and your story is something that's a little different than everyone else's. You know, you started out kind of like in the front of the front running of the industry, and now have taken a little bit more of a backstage role in the entertainment world. What was that transition like, and why?
Well, as far as being in music, I sort of got not fed up, but a little just kind of creatively not so much passionate about the being in a band as much anymore. It was kind of I was in a band for a long time, and then sort of just decided that it was a lot of work for not a lot of reward. And part of that being in the fact that I didn't get to contribute as much as I would have liked to the music side of the thing. So I was stuck with a lot of the marketing business sort of side of being in a DIY band. And of course, being in a group with multiple people, some things happen. So like from there, booking shows was always something that I found being fun. Starting there, then putting together the music festival just kind of grew. Then, yeah, I mean, making t-shirts and stuff, all the other things that we're probably going to get to at some point later, are all just pretty much where the passion lied in the DIY music scene, more so than being in a band, but still making music, doing things like that, but not on the scale that I was prior.
Okay.
No, you're definitely like the one-stop shop of
Yep.
DIY type of stuff, which I totally respect, and you've been that way for such a long time. I want to know a little bit more about the why, because to me, and this is me being the crazy artist that I am, the business side is by far like the grossest side. I never understood why anyone would take that side, and I hold you in such high regard as a human being. I want to know the why.
Well, I guess my passion in general kind of lies in the more so like the art, the physical art form of things. So I work professionally in marketing, so I've always had a passion for advertising and marketing and video creation and graphic design and all that stuff. So part of the thing I enjoy is taking the audio element and then making the visual element to pair with the audio element.
Right.
Doing all of that, I always find you could have the greatest song in the world, but if you don't promote it properly, or the visuals aren't the greatest they could be, then it kind of falls not as, or it won't fall flat necessarily, but you're not giving it its best chance. So I always found that, like, I know I could take this good music, and then if we did the best thing we could do for it creatively from a visual standpoint, or even like running ads or whatever, people are things that people will be captivated from the first time they see it somewhere or hear it.
Right.
So, and that's where like just music videos in general have always been such a cool aspect in my like upbringing as far as like emo music and all that stuff because
Right.
you could hear a song, but then when you see the music video, it almost changes how you hear the song in a certain
Yeah,
level.
totally.
Yeah, so I guess that's kind of where it all comes in. My going to school for business and marketing, and then I transferred and switched majors to graphic design. So I kind of just enjoy all of that, and then tying it all together with the other passion of music is the why.
That's awesome. Well, I appreciate you sharing that. That's absolutely awesome, and I love to hear the story. What is your favorite part now that you're playing all these different roles?
I enjoy the festival thing, putting
Mhm.
together the Shoreline Fest. Uh, that's one thing that kind of I get to do them all in one.
Right.
So I'm doing all the social graphics, the flyer, the posters, all the stuff that I hand out at shows or stickers, and I make the t-shirts for that. I'm booking all the bands. I'm meeting with people and the zoning and planning in the town, like doing everything for that. It
Right.
kind of all just comes together. There's elements of every single thing that I like to do, and it all comes together for that. So
Right.
that's the big thing that I'm definitely focusing more on these days. And now that it's December, it's kind of starting to pick up a little bit. We're still waiting
Mhm.
for to have a final meeting with the venue and get everything squared away, but we definitely have a date set, and um, we know that it's going to happen. That's for sure.
That's awesome. That's awesome, and that's so good to hear. Because your event itself, and we are talking about the Shoreline Music Festival, has been so incredible for the scene, and I got to to sit and witness and be a part of last year's, and it was just incredible to see something that kicked off in from your hometown, that amazing Warp Tour festival type of feel where you could walk from one stage to the other, where you didn't have to worry, where if you stood in a particular spot, you could actually watch both stages going off at the same time. It was absolutely fantastic. The food was amazing. The smash burgers are like some of my favorites that I've had. So I really dig that as well. And it was just an all around like incredible experience to go forward. So I'm glad that it is moving forward and you are going to continue with it in different things, even though venues change and everything does change. What has been one of the techniques of being so open to change? How have you been able to be so open to change while you're on this incredible adventure?
Well, I guess I always can dream and picture the vast improvements that I could make in call it 10 years. Like looking at Warp Tour, for
Mhm.
example, it's like there's
Right.
always an ability to upgrade, and I know that I'm kind of in a small DIY thing. Like I'm not gonna
Mhm.
lie and say it's like Warp Tour because
Right.
it's obviously not up to any scale, but it's definitely inspired by that and having that sort of community thing. But as it goes, and I think this year with the venue change will definitely be a big step into that kind of next realm because the place that we were able to land has I don't want to say it out loud yet because
Yeah, I
uh,
got you.
all that, but it's a place that pretty much everybody in Connecticut knows of or has been to. So having that kind of not like stamp of approval, I guess, but something
Mhm.
like that for people that don't necessarily go to like local music shows.
Right.
It's definitely going to be a big, expansive, uh, like uh, for the people that don't, yeah, the people that don't come to stuff like that, they're going to
Mhm.
be the bands who are promoting it. Maybe their family will be more willing to come out and support them because sometimes, with my mom, for example, when I was playing in bands and stuff, she would ask like, "Is this a show that I could go to?" referring to some of the DIY spots that are in basements and things like that. So it's like you wouldn't want to bring your mom to that show, but this is definitely more of like it still has the, we still have mosh pits and it's still pretty dope, but it's also at like a professional establishment where like it'll be like going to a big concert at a place at a big venue that So I'm really excited for the changes, and I think there's more ability for us we can go a little bit later doing it here, which is good. As of right now, the changes and stuff, there's nothing that I'm hindered by. I think if anything, it's the placement of the second stage might be not necessarily ideal for how we have the space that is available to us. But only being like it'll be a little bit smaller of a space, so people will be more crammed in. It's going to look more awesome for anybody, any of the bands who are like taking pictures. Everybody's
the visuals are going to come dope.
They'll be all right in front of the stage, so it'll be good. And we're actually able to add a third stage this year.
Nice.
So it'll be acoustic inside, so we'll have a little bit of everything. And definitely another change that's definitely for the better is I'm branching out a little bit further into the like heavier bands. So I'm going to have 2 or 3 like metalcore bands playing to mix it in with the pop punk that we usually have and some of the indie artists. So I'm excited.
Yeah, that's cool. Have you guys focused in on a headliner that you can speak of yet, or is it still kind of like buzzing around?
It's still definitely I haven't even sent out any offers yet. I have like a rough idea. Last year I had a couple bands that I wanted to get that they either couldn't make the date work, or they had already booked something else by the time that I had one band set to go, and then they dropped, and then I got another one, and then they dropped, and then I kind of was scrambling to grab the last headliner last year. So some of them were kind of busy, but now that I have a good jump on it, I can try to go for the 2 that I wanted last year. Nice. And then I think that's the plan. I might try to do 2 or 3, depending on like some of these artists. It's a lot of money to get them to come out. So it's either the plan as of right now is probably to do 2 that are kind of, instead of putting all of it into one and trying to get a huge band to come down, I might do like 2 mid-level just to spread it out a little bit. And then next year I'm hoping to go and get a band that like everybody will know. So this is kind of the last, I think if it all goes well, this will be the last like building year. And then we'll start really kicking it off next year.
Nice.
So everyone be sure to come out this year before it gets too big,
Exactly.
Speaking of big, tell me about the Big E, brother.
Oh yes, the Big E. In my full-time job, I do graphic design for a marketing agency in New Haven.
Yeah.
One of our big clients is the Big E.
Okay.
So I'm making billboards and brochures for some of the music acts that come through. So it's that's always really cool to see, like emails and stuff come in, and it's like we got last year Third Eye Blind played, one of my favorite bands. So like making a billboard for Third Eye Blind or Jimmy Eat World is really cool. And that's another way that the design and stuff all ties together to the music that I always enjoy to do, because we can get in and see some of those shows for free, or just like seeing the billboards out there. It's like nobody has any clue that I did that, but it's like still,
it's meaningful.
It is.
Yeah.
So,
is there ever a day do you feel that you're working, or it's just more of a hustle, and then the festival's more your passion? Is that what pretty much is the journey right now?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay.
There's good parts there's things I obviously love about my job and everything, but it is end of the day work.
Of course.
We do a lot of fun stuff like with the local fairs and things like that, like the Big E. But there's also the boring side of it with some very business type things. You know, you're designing like
I understand.
books or things like that that don't have a lot of like energy or whatever. But that's half the game. You know, it's all. I'm lucky enough to have time to do freelance work on the side as well. So I do stuff for a t-shirt company that does like giveaways. They give away these
Okay.
trucks. So every dollar you spend gets you entered to win something. So they're always looking for new designs. So I do that part time throughout the week as well, and
Now, is
that's
that
where I sort of get to stretch
okay?
my legs design wise.
Nice. Is that monumental merch?
Not that one, no.
Okay.
That's just freelance design. So I do
Oh, okay. Gotcha. All
reddingdesign.net
right.
is my you can find my portfolio and all that stuff. That's where I'll design flyers for bands and album covers, single covers, music videos, t-shirt designs, all that good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Monumental merch is where I'll actually screen print stuff in the house. So I make screens and print shirts for people, mostly for bands, local bands. I do like a 25, 30 minimum. So bands that are looking for like a small batch of shirts that lets them kind of for an affordable rate so uh, they can actually flip that and make some cash. And as we all know, that's important for a local band to keep going.
Absolutely.
Recording and stuff is not free. So any way that I can help them into generating that revenue, it's always a good feeling. So any bands that are looking for stuff, feel free to reach out to Monumental Merch. I'm here. I'm ready to go. So
I'm looking at the site. It's real done. It's a really nice site.
thank you.
Yeah, no, and the
Yeah.
quality is incredible.
Absolutely.
We did
Agreed.
some stuff with Shane Penguin through there with the pins and,
Oh,
and the
nice.
shirts, and actually a couple of the sweatshirts. The one you have actually, P, was done through Monumental Merch.
Oh, the Bullet Club?
Yeah.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I
Yep,
saw
that
some
was one of
packaging
the-
for beer bottles. I didn't mean to cut you off. I apologize.
Oh, you're good.
Yeah,
You're good.
Go ahead.
The Penguin shirts and sweatshirts and stuff was one of the first jobs I did for
Okay.
Monumental Merch. Yeah, so
That's cool.
Dustin's been around, you know.
I've been around. I've been representing, holding tight. Looking forward to how things grow in the future. You know, I'm one of those people that stays. It's so interesting because so many people are like, how come you don't like, with all your different connections, how come you don't like bully people into having you play on a show or something like that? I was like, because I have enough confidence in my stage performance that they're going to see the show and they're going to be like, yo, this dude needs to play a show. You know what I'm saying? And that's just how things go. But yeah, so many people are like, how come you don't bother him? Or how come you don't bother that? I was like, because if I'm bothering them, then I'm not on the bill because I'm good. I'm on the bill because I'm annoying. You know, and that's something I've never wanted to be.
That's true. That's a good point.
You know, every once in a while, I'm like a broken clock. I'm right like twice a day.
You're broken to many, but not to me on WNHHLP 103.5 FM New Haven. Myself, Preston, and my partner in crime, Long Island Rays, Mr. Easy Blues. We got TJ Redding with us talking about his journey and his intelligent mind. You got a great site, brother. You're doing great things. But I'm pretty proud of what I see in here. I really am. Brother.
Thank you.
Kudos.
Thank you so much.
Definitely. What haven't you done that would you like to do? Because you look like you're in the prime of life right now. So what haven't you done that you want to just take care
of? The next step for me, as far as like things that I want to do.
Yeah.
Step one that's top of mind is actually record the record that I have. Me and a couple of guys I know are working on. We have an album pretty much like written for the most part, but it's all demos. We just got to do like some touch ups on like vocal melodies and all that sort of stuff. But we have a bunch of songs that are ready to go that I think we're going to try to record this year. Like 2025.
Okay.
And then from there, the plan, I think, instead of doing instead of doing full band shows like I've done in the past, or like Shane Penguin, like having a full live band, we're just gonna do me and my friend Jay, who plays drums. We're gonna do cover shows like at bars, just like
Right.
acoustic bar
Right.
sets. That's good income. Plus, like I can see myself doing that for a long time. Whereas
Right.
doing the touring thing with a band and trying to find the right people and keeping everybody motivated to do all that stuff, it's tough. So
Yeah.
doing it kind of just for fun, playing some covers that people obviously know and love, and then not having people being forced to pay for like a ticket to something. You can just come out and hang out at a bar and everybody's happy and there's music, and then I hang out and see people I know, and it seems like that's at least how I picture my future in music, at least playing music. Yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to. At least if I have the time and energy, it would be really cool to write a musical if possible. But
Nice. I am totally down for a TJ Redding musical. You know,
that's definitely not happening anytime soon. But
oh, come on, dude, bro.
I've tried the concept album thing, and it's hard.
Right.
I'm not an incredible storyteller, so like
okay.
you know, like I'm saying incredible, like I'm, you know, for it to be, it would have to be really freaking good for me to like have to do that kind of thing. And I don't know. That's like a thought I haven't even considered trying. So, but we'll see.
Any idea what the synopsis may be?
Oh, no idea at all. I've just been so Back to the Future is one of my favorite movies, like of all time.
Oh yeah.
I went to see the Broadway musical.
How was that?
Nice.
How was that?
It was weird, but it was good. And
it was good weird?
It was good, yeah.
Okay.
They do the whole movie, but they're singing through it, and it's all new original music.
Okay.
So it's kind of strange, but at the same time, it's like cool to see the set design and like all that
I
stuff.
just want one spoiler. Do they sing The Power of Love? That's all I want to know.
Yes.
Okay, good. I'll be happy.
They do.
I'm sold. That's it. Continue. That's all I want to know.
So I went to see that, and then I got it sort of just it didn't like, I'd never been to a Broadway show before. Okay. So I was like, this is actually really cool. And then went to see that Harry Potter show on Broadway as well. Big Harry Potter fan. So I've been going to a bunch of shows. There's a couple at the Bushnell. I went to see the Neil Diamond one with my mom. And then we just saw The Lion King like last weekend.
Okay.
So it's kind of like a new thing I'm sort of discovering that I like. So that's where I'm like, oh, I could probably do something like this if I really tried and put like multiple years into it. Then who knows? But that's like I think once I'm a little bit older and have more time, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's a lot of incredible stuff that's going on in that type of world too. I mean, Lin-Manuel just did a concept record for the Warriors, and I think he did it all in a female point of view and perspective.
Really?
Yeah, it's really good. The Lauryn Hill's on the record, so something you definitely want to take a look at. I believe Lin-Manuel and Nas. I think Nas is an executive producer.
Wow.
Yeah, really, 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 really good stuff. So I think that's always dope. I love Broadway. Broadway to me is always going to be something that's fun, and I love when Broadway meets pop culture.
Yeah,
you know, it's always dope when we have those kind of things. You know, like American Idiot being a phenomenal record and being a Broadway musical. You know, being that full concept record type of feel to it. I'm sure at some point in time, Shane Penguin will have like a concept EP because we'll call it the ADHD EP because I don't have the attention span for a full record. You know,
I totally feel that though as well.
Like it'll be an entire musical record about mental health. It'll be called the ADHD EP, and it'll be short. 15-second songs.
It's just
And
noise. It's just distracting noise. That's
just
all it is.
distracting noise. And on the cover, there'll just be a squirrel. It'll just be a picture of a squirrel. That's it. There you go. We've just came up with $1 million record right there.
Or you could do the Wolfpack thing where they had a EP that was, I think, 7 songs, and they were all kind of like when Spotify was like first coming out. So it took 30, I think it counts as a stream after 30 seconds or something.
Right.
They made all the songs 31 seconds, and it was just all complete silence.
Yep.
And they told people to put it on before they went to sleep.
Yep.
And they generated like 15 grand to go on tour for that.
Yep.
Just from nothing. It's like, it could be a business move.
It could be a business move. That's what's so incredible about the business. You know, I dog talk the business all the time because it is gross. I won't pretend. There's been a lot of shady things that have happened in this incredible music industry. But it's such a business. Like, you have the group that did that, but then you saw that in neoclassical music where you had John Cage sit on stage for 4 minutes and 33 seconds while the audience became the actual musical piece. And people paid to see it. Like, that's so dope to me. Like, I got to figure out how to do that.
You're already a force. So just keep doing your thing.
Word.
Were you in like other bands before? I remember just like reading and just doing research on you. Did you like experiment with other bands before you went, in the state you are right now musically?
Yeah, I had started, I didn't really get into music that much at all until I was in kind of like the middle of high school or so. One of my friends showed me Blink-182, and that sort of kicked it all off for me. I just like got obsessed with that band, and then that led to like a lot of the pop punk stuff from around the 2010s era. So like State Champs and Story So Far are some of my favorite bands. I got into all of that, and then I started a band with him, the same kid, as we were coming out of high school. So through college, I was pretty much in a band called Static Charmer, which I don't think any of that is online anymore, but anybody that wants it, I can send it to them. But I was in that band for 3 or 4 years, I think. We kind of just had some fun. It wasn't anything like too serious. We recorded our first EP in California with the guy who ran Drive Through Records, so bands like Newfound Glory and Starting Line. Yeah, it was a cool experience, but we were young and not smart, so we didn't really capitalize on it the way that it would have been like now had I had that same opportunity, kind of thing. So but it was fun. It was a cool experience for sure. And then we recorded an album kind of on our own and put that out in 2018, I think, in the beginning of the year. And then I was in that band kind of disbanded, and then I joined another band, Mighty Tortuga, that I've been in or was in for about 5 years. And I think I've been out of that band for about a year. It's been September last year. So from when I left there, that was like what I was saying before, kind of like not being able to stretch my creativity as far as music goes, not getting to have a hand in the actual music as much. So I left that band and then started writing like in a completely different genre and doing all of that for the band thing that's coming next. So in the past year, we've got about 18 songs or so that we're going to whittle down to probably 10 or 11 and then track it and do all that stuff. So that's my musical history, at least.
To a brand new prospective listener, what would you describe your sound to be?
So when I sing, I sound like Death Cab for Cutie.
Gotcha.
Anybody that knows that band, I sound a lot like that, or Owl City. If you know the Fireflies song, I get that a lot.
Well aware. Yes.
Both of those. That's kind of the singing style, at least. The new music that we're working on is something in between, like the band, the 1975, Third Eye
Okay.
Blind,
Third Eye Blind, I
and
know.
what are some other good ones? The Main is one of my favorite bands. That's another one.
Okay.
We're doing more pop stuff for sure.
Mhm.
Like
Okay.
those are bands that I know that like are in kind of a rock and roll sort of, like they're in the emo genre, but I wouldn't put any of this necessarily in there. Um, but it's fun. There's some like indie stuff that we're doing where it's like fast and garagey. But then we have some auto-tuned to the max like pop stuff that's all just MIDI instruments, and there's no like actual analog stuff
Oh
on there.
wow.
So it's all beats and
Wow.
yeah, so it's gonna be cool. It's gonna be a weird array of genres, I think, because we also just did like a country song. So it's
Did a
gonna be
country
kind of
song. Okay.
yeah,
That's
it's
how it
gonna
should be, though. Like chances should be taken at every point in time. Art
exactly
should
Right.
be ever evolving and constantly moving. And that's what I love about SP is we don't pick a style. We just play music.
right. And that's kind of how that's been happening. We'll hear a song and we'll send it to each other and be like, it would be cool if we could do something like this. And then it's
Yeah, that's
like,
awesome.
let's just do it. And then we can always figure it out later. So we've had those 18 songs or so, but we've done like 25 and then
Right.
been like, oh, this isn't really up to par or whatever. But it's always fun to just hang out and make something. And then also getting to stretch like um I knew with kind of like the 1975 thing, that like 80s guitar work, like that kind of stuff.
Right.
I've never really been able to do that in a band that I've been in. So really diving into sort of the instrumentalist things that I wanted to do. So like funky bass lines and keyboard, I've been
Right.
messing around a lot with, which I've never really played the keyboard, but as I'm doing this stuff, I'm like, that's what it needs. So I'm just kind of experimenting with all that, and then downloading some synth plugins and really going crazy with the synths and stuff. So it's all pretty exciting. I'm hopeful that people will be able to hear it soon, but we got to finish it, which is always
Nice.
the burden.
Nice. Now, are you going to do something like animated? So is this your version of the Gorillas, where now they're going to be like cartoon characters for each thing, and they're all going to have their own shirts and all that? I'm not giving you this free $1 million idea or anything, but I think that might be cool.
I always love the idea of a mascot in a band. Like I know you have your penguin thing. Yep.
Yeah.
So we're doing a beaver is
Oh,
the
nice.
thing. We started like our group chat was called the Beaver Boys for a while just because whatever,
Right.
somehow a beaver came up. I can't remember. And then I was like, that's just going to be the mascot because the whole thing that I like is we're this band, and then it's a beaver with the quote, "We don't give a damn," DAM.
Right. Perfect.
So like Beaver Dam.
Yep.
And I'm like, that's clever because that's kind of the whole concept of this band is that we're not trying to be famous
Exactly.
musicians or anything. We're just a bunch of guys having fun. So it's like we don't really care. We're just here having fun. So that's like the t-shirt idea that I'm gonna probably do at some point.
That's awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, but the whole mascot thing is always fun. It gives people like something to look for visually
Right.
and connects them immediately. So, oh yeah.
Okay. As soon as you got everything good. Easy. Go ahead. I didn't want to cut you off, brother.
Yeah, no worries, no worries. But honestly, the mascot aspect of it, if I would have known before how important a mascot was, oh my God, I'd have a mascot for everything. But yeah, people love it. I remember the first time Kenny showed up at Stella Blues with a stuffed penguin. And I held it under my arm for the entire show, and from that point on, the questions that we were getting and all that, people were just automatically engaged. And I was like, oh my gosh, Kenny, you're a genius. And it's been textbook ever since. Of course, there's also been ridiculous things we've tried too, just because I think they're funny. uh, you know. But it's just so super interesting. I can't wait for the shirt. I want to be one of the first persons to wear it. I will wear it on this show, so you can get extra promotion on it and all that kind of stuff. It'd be dope.
There we go.
Be good. Be good times. Good times had by all. Good times had by all. So, how are you going to play out with this new project? I mean, is that even possible?
So that's where I think we're gonna do when we do the cover gigs
Mhm.
and stuff. Usually those sets are 3 hours or so. For the places that will at least allow it. From other people that I know that have done that sort of thing, they usually do you play for 45 minutes and take like a 15-minute break.
Right.
Then you do the same thing 2 more times. So you have 45, 15, 45, 15. And then the last one you can play all originals or you can mix them in between or whatever. But like places that'll allow it at least, I can just we'll throw in some originals here and there.
Nice.
And I think that'll be kind of like a cool way to mix it all together. Like it'll appeal a little bit to everybody because people that go to local shows also like going to bars and just hanging out with their friends.
Yeah,
People
word.
that like just going out to bars and hanging out with their friends, even better. So it's like you're hitting the double thing, and maybe people who aren't used to hearing originals will be more inclined to actually take a step and listen to the originals on Spotify or whatever.
Hey,
And setting it up.
Yeah, maybe one of the bands that you're friends with will show you a way to play one of their tracks, acoustically, and you throw that in the set as well, or something along those lines. This way, you're getting all that extra help from everywhere.
Yeah, and still having the ability to like play if we know all of our originals,
Right.
we can still show up and play a show like opening for Shane Penguin
Yeah,
acoustic,
word.
like that
Definitely.
kind of thing.
Yeah,
It can still be
Absolutely.
it can still be done in that environment, but more so we're going to focus on the bar gigs and stuff like that. So
of course.
that's
sense.
like a 2026 plan, I think, because we got to build up like a pretty large collection of covers to go out and play for 3 hours.
Yeah, well, exactly. You got to come up with 3 hours of covers, and that's a lot, especially when some of the older songs are no more than 3 minutes long. You know what I'm saying? There's a whole bunch of them. I remember Willie Nelson talking about writing and how it was tougher for him to write back in the day because he had to make everything in 3 minutes. Had to, you had to say everything you needed to say in under 3 minutes, and even today, I think the formula is still 3 minutes and 18 seconds. I believe.
I have no idea.
Oh, okay. Sorry. This is where I get really geeky with it because I started diving into breaking down, the psychological breakdown of a hit song and all those different aspects.
Yeah.
And there are people who the attention span is about 3 minutes and 18 seconds. That's like
I believe it.
You have to change up your visuals every 15 seconds. All this kind of weird things that I dive into. But that's why I'm more of the guy that goes to the tarot reader instead of a college. I'm
just lost for words. That was funny.
No, that was funny. I gotta say, I give myself credit for that line. High five.
That was hysterical. As far for the festival, is it just for Connecticut, or do you think of working for other festivals like out of state somewhere? Is that a plan in the foreseeable future?
Yeah. So last year we had actually talked about doing that, having it be like maybe 3 weekends in a row.
Right.
Because you want to do it on a Saturday, preferably, but you do Saturday I don't know, to call it December 1st. This is Saturday, which it isn't, but the 1st, the 8th, and the 15th or whatever, doing those and having each of those be in a different state, probably like Massachusetts and New Jersey or something like
the connecting
states.
All right.
Because it's as much as it is like a headliner draw. There's definitely more of a local thing happening. So like all these local bands that are playing are bringing people that are from around the city, that like doing it in Massachusetts would be just as impactful there. I think
Right.
half the issue is it's still kind of just me
Right.
doing most of it. This year, it's definitely going to change a little bit with
Right.
getting more people involved.
Okay.
But last year we tried to do that. I think at the very early stages, we were thinking about trying to get that done. But you have to put a lot of trust in a promoter that's out of state, and
Yeah.
kind of I know what I can do, and when it's not going so well, I can pivot and make it go well. So it's like having to keep an open line of communication with somebody who's out of state, and then that it'll turn into so much more work. And I'm like, well, maybe once I have more of a like uh, established sort of following for something like that, where
Of course.
I hit the point where I can say, here's the date with no lineup, and say tickets are on sale, and then I can sell a lot of tickets without even having to give them a lineup. That's when I think would be the time to expand.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. So that you have it's better to expand slowly when you have everything in its own place, so you don't burn yourself out. The amount of work that it would take. Look, man, I saw what you did the weekend of, and the amount of work that you put in up to making sure the last thing was broken down and ready to rock and roll like the following day. So that's having to do that 3 weeks in a row would take a lot. And not only that, but having to do that 3 weeks in a row and not be able to drive home every single night and sleep in your own bed for like, maybe an hour drive. That's a lot different than, going to Jersey where it's going to be 3 hours, 4 hours before you can drive home, and all of
Right.
that stuff as well. So I appreciate and respect you looking at you'd rather grow when you're ready than grow too fast.
Yep. And I think that's something that at least the DIY bands in the local scene should definitely take note of as well. I know some people try to just get out as fast as possible, but I've at least heard the advice from multiple industry people that like no one's going to look at you until you can sell out your local bar 3 times a year.
Right.
So definitely establishing yourself in your town before you start branching out is definitely the way to go. So
it is on WNHHLP 103.5 FM New Haven. Myself, Preston, and Mr. EZ BlueZ. Go ahead, Easy.
Well, no, that's one of the key things, and it's so interesting because like us in particular, we haven't looked out too far out of Connecticut because we wanted to get our stage show down first. We wanted to know, that every time we're going to hit it this certain type of way, and all that different type of aspect is just to go into it before we started venturing out, because we're looking at doing like weird weekend tours and all that kind of stuff,
right.
Because we all are adults and have actual lives. So it's not like we can, go take 2.5, 3 weeks off, but we can go out, every Friday and come back on Sunday.
Yep. And definitely having that, like you want to be the best that you can be when you're going and trying to hit a whole crowd of people that have never even heard of you before is
Exactly.
obviously very important. So, yeah, I mean,
we only got so much time left for the program. TJ, we just want to give this little amount of time to you. Please give someone any inspirational words of someone who wants to go in a similar path as yours. And also, please plug yourself, tell everything what's coming up in 2025 and your social media. Go right ahead. This time is yours.
All right, sweet. Well, as far as inspirational words, I think I've said this before, but definitely if you feel passionate about doing a specific thing, definitely just try. I definitely think the trial and error is how I've sort of gotten where I am, at least, even though I'm not as high as I could possibly be on a pedestal or whatever. But, we're always learning every day. So just keep trying. And that's how I sort of got to this stage of the festival is year 1 and year 2 and 3. It's continually just adapting and changing and realizing what the problems are and growing from there. And just if you're passionate about something, just keep going, keep trying, keep doing, and don't let anybody tell you you can't do it, because you definitely can, and you just got to keep going.
Most definitely.
As far as all of my things, if you're interested in graphic design work, my freelance design services can be found at Redding Design on Instagram and reddingdesign.net. That's where my portfolio is. You can check out some of the work I've done. I definitely have not updated that as much as I should, but the Instagram has more recent stuff on it, so you can check it out there. Monumental Merch is the screen print service. If anybody needs short run screen printing, 30 shirts or so with up to like 2 or 3 colors, hit me up at Monumental Merch, monumentalmerch.com. I'm just TJ Redding. That's TJ_Redding on Instagram. And I don't have a website, but you can go to shorelinesummerfest.com and read all about the music fest. And at shoreline.summer.fest is the Instagram for that one. And we'll definitely see you all at the Shoreline Summerfest this year, 2025. That's going to be the big thing for me. And then look out on my social for any new music and all that stuff that I got coming up. So I think it'll probably be about a year from now. So be sure to follow now so that you see it when it comes up, because that's always important. And I follow back. So
TJ, we appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for being on the program. This means a lot.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate what you're doing for everybody. So thank you for having me.
Absolutely, man. We try our best. Preston and Mr. Easy BlueZ on WNHH LP 103.5 FM New Haven. Appreciate everyone. Thank you so much.
Wondering what to write about, trying to figure out what it's all about. Existentialist, am I worth anything or just discount? I don't know.